If I'm in conversation with someone and it sort of ends abruptly for whatever reason, okay, well, what does that mean? Does it mean that they hate me?
How does our relationship affect our ability to create a life that we desire? We're here to give you clarity on how you can break through and create the financial breakthroughs that you're looking for and living the life that you truly desire. And to help me get clarity on this, to get the outcomes that we're really looking for and creating that lifestyle that we crave and desire, I brought with me the one and only Marcy Labelle. Welcome.
Awesome. Thank you, Joachim. Thank you so much for having me back. I really appreciate it. This is going to be exciting.
Yeah, I enjoyed our last session a couple of weeks ago. So let's bring some more clarity on how we can, push through around over under, whatever it takes. Let's do that. And we are reading this amazing book that's called The Courage to Be Disliked. And today, let's dig into what the author is bringing up about all problems are interpersonal relationship problems. And what does this mean? Let's start with there, Marcy.
So it's quite interesting. Alfred Adler, who has the line of psychology and talks about interpersonal relationship problems sort of being at the core of all our problems. And it's really intriguing, I've found. I'm not sure if I agree with it 100%, but I really started becoming aware and evaluating. And what he means by it is that the problems we encounter in our life are based on our trying to, what will other people think of us? How will we be perceived? And you really just changing our own perceptions of what things mean and what things mean to us based on our observations of other people. So he also speaks of, in the world, kind of the concept of if you were the only person in the universe, you wouldn't have any problems. You wouldn't have any interpersonal relationships to even worry about. Obviously, that's not possible, nor would we want it to be possible. But that by, I was almost thinking of the movie Castaway earlier and thinking, well, would that apply there? And because,
by the way, the Castaway, is that the movie with the guy who was on a plane and they crashed and he is left, he comes to an island?
Yes. Yeah. So he's on the island by himself. It's been a long time since I've seen that movie, but I was trying to think of examples where someone would be just alone by themselves. But the fact that you would still know that there's other people out in the world, you would still be lonely. So was really delving into that. And if I was stuck alone on an island, I absolutely would feel lonely because I knew there was others out there. Like, we as humans are social creatures. So, but with that also comes interpersonal relationship problems.
Yeah, definitely.
Trying to interact.
Yeah, definitely. And it comes back to, like, for example, in our everyday life, if we're to give a speech and we're nervous about the speech, why would that happen? Probably because, we are thinking about what would others think of me. As you said, these perceptions that we have and these observations that we make about how people react to what we do, right? And as you then said, it comes all back to being part of this. We're social creatures. We want to connect with others. So all kind of stuff that's going on, that comes back to relationships because, whether it's, we want to, show that we done something great. That's another example. Like if you achieved something, accomplished something, what many of us really want to share that with someone. It's not necessarily to show that we're better than someone or, I'm greater than you in some way, but just sharing these experiences with people, sharing the moments of life and enjoying that because, we are social creatures. So, all kind of things that we're going through comes back to these kind of relationships. I really love what you said with it's our perceptions, like the observations that we do. So that means it's all up to us, right? It's all about these labels or, how we perceive this. It comes back to ourselves, what kind of labels we give to these kind of experiences.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, what meaning is it that we assign to something based on what we perceive? One thing that I really like about this book is that it's really allowed me to even question the way that I perceive things. And it's almost like each of us, we're here and we're looking out at the world, but we have a lens that we look out into the world through. And really taking the time to examine the lens that we're looking through and saying, okay, what are the meanings that I'm assigning to something? If someone, if I'm in conversation with someone and it sort of ends abruptly for whatever reason, the fact is, in the objective view, the conversation ended abruptly. But when I go through the subjective view and say, okay, well, what does that mean? Does it mean that they hate me? Does it mean that they realized, oh no, I need to be in a meeting in 15 minutes and I need to go, but didn't communicate that? What does it mean? So I'm the one who has the choice to assign a meaning to it. And depending upon what meaning I assign, that could drastically affect that relationship. So if I say, you know what, I don't know why it ended, but I'm sure they had good intentions. Or I could, go and stay up all night worrying, going, they hate me, they don't like me, I'm never going to build this, friendship, business partnership, whatever it is with that person. I'm awful, I'm worthless, never again. And then all of the focus is therefore back on myself, almost in a selfish perception of it's me, it's all about me, it's got to be something wrong with me. So it's really interesting when we're able to pause and step back and really look at what could the other potential meanings be that aren't necessarily related to us. But I think with the really big takeaway from the book is continuing to examine our own perceptions and our own subjective view of the world.
Well, yeah. And to build upon what you said there, what comes to my mind is I've been to an event the 2 previous days of this weekend, and the speaker there, he said, okay, has he been at physical events and speaking in front of, for example, 1,000 people? And as he's on stage, he can notice, for example, one person standing up and leave the room. And he would quite quickly think, I'm not delivering. They don't like me. I'm probably doing something bad, whatever. But in reality, they're probably just going to the toilet and coming back in a minute.
Right.
Yeah. So I agree that it's this ability to take a moment, pause, and look at, what could this, or are there other meanings to what's really happening now? And how does all of this tie to the wealth creation and creating financial breakthroughs, creating wealth, and allowing kind of more abundance into the world and having more freedom? And this comes, another episode that comes back to my mind is what happened during recently, a couple of months ago, back at the workplace before I quit my job. And that is at a table with some other people I shared, some time while ago, me and my family, we went to a 2-star Michelin restaurant. And they like, oh, yeah, the financial guy is going out eating like fancy food. And it just hit me. Oh, it's quite interesting. Now, I can care less about the comments, and I wouldn't take it too seriously to be offended by that. It's clicked with me that it's interesting that they made a comment in probably in order to make a connection so we can have a conversation. But the fact that they had to take this approach in order to make that connection. So I'm deciding how I want to respond to that. And I'm like, guys, you should definitely try that because the food is freaking amazing.
Right.
You should definitely go. But it's just, why does this happen? Because going to, it is expensive. It's an expensive experience. And that's relative as well. If you have $1 million, I wouldn't be that expensive. But for my budget, it is expensive. But why would this comment happen, etc.? Is because I perceive it as an expensive experience, and it's all about the value that we give to it, right? And it comes back to are you wearing I'm not talking necessarily to Marcy, but you who are listening. Are you like dressing up the way you want? Are you wearing the jewelry you want, or driving the car that you want? And all these things that we like want, it comes back to the value that we self and others give to it. And that brings up all these conversations in our head about, yeah, what would other people think? What would that mean if I show up in this car, or if I show up in these clothing, etc. Can you relate to any of this, Marcy?
I can, yes, actually. So it's really interesting to see as our money mindsets start to shift in our own lives, how the people around us respond. Friends, family, coworkers, extended, acquaintances and things. And I even in my own journey, that there's been some times that have come up where I'm really excited to share something with someone else, just because I'm proud of an accomplishment, or I'm proud of something I did, or I'm really excited about even a new piece of clothing. And like you said, sometimes the comments that come back are not like, wow, that's really exciting, or I'm so happy for you. It's kind of the, oh, okay, yeah, I stay there. Sure, you get the nice shoes or the nice whatever, or sometimes they won't necessarily comment on that, but then they'll make a comment about someone else if we're in a surrounding, area. Let's say we were eating out, about how they're just a bunch of jerks in their fancy cars and things. And it's interesting to pause, because other people will have judgments. And regardless of whatever we do, we're being judged. We're being judged 24/7, basically, by everyone. But the thing is are you going to stop that by, are you going to allow other people to control your journey and control your growth, essentially? Because maybe deep down inside, what you said, they looked at it through their lens of life and said, oh, well, they're succeeding in a way that maybe I'm not at this moment, therefore I am less. And that's not what we intend, but that's what the other person is choosing to perceive our success as. And one of the things I really like about the book is the book talks about how we can either, choose to perceive everyone in the world as our enemy. Like we need to compete, we need to be better than you, in a very competitive, but a negative competitive way. Or we can choose to view everyone in the world as, a comrade. And we can have healthy competition in that sense, but a comrade, so that I can celebrate your success and you can celebrate my success. And we can really help to raise each other up. And, as communities, for growth, to raise all of us up at the same time, to make it a better place. And just that little shift in mindset, I think, really makes a big difference. And I think it's fantastic what you're doing with being able to share wealth knowledge in the world, because maybe we can help to start shift that perception where, your win isn't the other person's loss, or my win isn't the other person's loss, or whoever's listening, their win isn't their friends or their family's loss. It's like, hey, that's awesome. Tell me more about how you did that. So good stuff.
Yeah, and that would definitely cheer everyone up, and that we all can advance and have more of the pleasures, the experiences that we really want. Because yes, it's about enjoying this process, enjoying life. And if we can support each other on that journey, that would be amazing. And I would like to build upon what you said, Marcy, with, okay, it's all about the people's perception, the perception they choose to give to things. And so when these things come up, when we experience that other makes comments, or that we maybe ourselves as well get caught, or that we can catch ourselves like, okay, if I do this, if I own this, if I bear this, that how will other people react to us? So the key here, like I would like to talk a little bit about like what can we do to like be able to step out of that and having more, okay, allowing ourselves to have that pleasure of enjoying life the way we want. So how can we do that? So I'd like to talk a little bit about that. And one thing I remember from the book there is focusing on what we can control. And that is yeah, it's these perceptions that we give to things, but finding like that we can ground ourselves to our values, who we are, and being very clear on what we want in our life, so we can detach ourselves from that need of others' approval as well. That it comes all back to, yeah, what we want, and not being so, yeah, dependent on, I guess, others' approval to be the person that we want. But if we know for ourselves what our values are, what we stand for, these other people's perceptions or opinions wouldn't matter that much. It's their That's their kind of their business, what's going on in their head, what perceptions they give to all of the stuff that I do. And I can just imagine, like, okay, spending so much energy on thinking about all this stuff, what others would think. Can you imagine if someone else or other people would spend that much energy on that as well? So it doesn't, I guess it doesn't make sense to spend so much energy on that when everyone is caught up in their own head anyway. What would you add to this, Marcy?
Agreed. I absolutely agree. I think it's almost funny the amount of energy and time that so many of us, and I'm not excluded from this, have, spent getting caught up in that. What did they think of me? What did they not like? Why? What happened? Versus just assigning a different meaning to it and let it go. Because, like you said, most of the time they're not thinking about what color your shoes are. They're thinking about, oh, gee, does this suit look good on me, or does this dress look good on me? They're thinking about themselves in their own head. And when we are able to come to the table with that perspective and really focus almost less on ourselves and more about the other person, what can I give to this other person? How am I, being true to myself in this moment? And like you said, really living within your highest values. I think that is so incredibly important to, know what your values are, and then to align your life to those. I really love and appreciate the work of, I don't know if you know, Dr. John DeMartini in his values work. And that has given me in my own life so much clarity to show up as the person that I know I am, and try to, make small adjustments to make sure that I am living in alignment with those values. So then, as I've encountered some situations where people sort of question things or make jokes about things, and I'm really okay with it, because I know that I'm doing what I love, I'm enjoying, I'm giving, I'm contributing, and I'm living within my own highest values. And if someone else doesn't like it, well, tough, that's, as long as we go out with the intention to, be positive and to show up in the world, and, and to give and be generous and be the light, that I think it's really, that's okay. Like we're in alignment with ourselves. Actually, a quote is coming to mind. I'm not sure which one of my mentors had said this or where the quote came from, but it's I would rather, have everyone else in the world be against me than to be against my own soul. And I thought that was really, really powerful. If we're not living for ourselves, if we're not living in alignment for ourselves, then what are we doing? Because we're essentially giving that away, and there'll be a big harmony and disconnect. And I think even from a financial perspective too, if we're denying ourselves the things that we truly want, because when we might be afraid of what others might think about us wanting those things, then we're trapping that part of ourselves. We're not expressing that. We're not allowing it to be free. But when we are able to, like you said, be congruent and in alignment, then everything starts to come together, and we can make forward progress in our life and financial journeys.
Amazing. And just think about how we probably show up as well when we can express that joy, etc. Yeah, the pleasure that we would have in our life, that we would experience if we truly live the life that we want. And Marcy, we shared a ton of great stuff, I believe, and especially from you as well. So I would like to wrap this up. Feel free to add something, but I believe it's great insights for me as well. Like it creates even more awareness, being able to be even more conscious about, where do I put my focus, and how I can, take the step back of allowing myself to, okay, what really matters is being, as you said, in harmony with my values, with my soul, and what other people think, that is their own business. Is there any final words you'd like to add to today's sessions, Marcy?
I guess my final words would probably just be to really pause and reflect inward. I'm a big fan of self-reflection, and it really allows us to get into seeing our own lens that we're looking at life through, and maybe the judgments that we're passing on ourselves and passing on others. And when we take the time to pause and see, how is it that we're assigning meaning? What is it we're doing? And how is it that maybe we're looking at life from a financial perspective too, that then we gain new knowledge and we gain clarity, and clarity is power. So
clarity is power. Just one last thing regarding, you said you've been studying Dr. John de Martini. I haven't had the pleasure yet, or I haven't chosen to study his work yet. And it's something on my bucket list, I would say, because I heard great things about him. So it's great to get another testimonial on his work. And maybe I should invite you to pick your brain on some of the insights that he's been able to give you.
You are welcome.
Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining Financial Success Secrets tonight, Marcy. It's been a pleasure. Amazing again to have these conversations. And for you who are listening as well, drop us a line. What is your biggest key takeaway from listening to what we share with you? What do you resonate with the most? We'd love to hear from you. Thank you for joining in.
Thanks, everyone.
Please be aware, we are no financial advisors. We do not provide any advice. We only share our experience, and our results are not typical. If we mention any stocks, funds and other type of investments, it is for educational and illustrational purposes only. Most people are unable to achieve similar results to ours. If you want to achieve similar results, you have to commit yourself to systemize, to learn and to stick to the rules.